watching, solving mysteries in the night. Chasing shadows, finding answers, shining bright light. No one's left behind in the darkness, all alone. With a heart like a siren, she brings the lost ones home. Silent cries in the dark no longer have to be, for justice wheels keep turning, granted on the beat. Broken voices find their power, call out hope again. When these crime busters run, no victims left in pain. Bravery in her veins, truth she won't disguise. With a fire in her eyes, she's got nothing to deny. Credit fights for justice, never backs down from the call. For the voiceless and the missing, she'll stand tall.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? Hello, Ginger Girl. I hope Ginger is doing good. So, I have been watching Trial all day, guys. Watching the Lori Vallow trial. I refuse to call her Daybell. Yeah, it has been an interesting trial so far. It's kind of interesting to watch Lori talk about what happened in her opening statement, and then, she cross-examined one of the officers that was at the scene. The second officer that was actually talking to her brother Alex is on the stand right now, so couldn't really do anything about that. But for those of you who don't know, Lori Vallow, oh, no infection. That's good to hear. That's good. I am glad. This was kind of the start of Lori Vallow's demise, even though this trial is after, it's kind of out of order. But it was because of what happened to her children and to Tammy Daybell that made them realize that this was not a self-defense thing. Once they got all of Lori's texts and everything from iCloud, they realized that this red rum of her husband, Charles Vallow, was planned, right? And it's really just a matter of time. In the interview that Lori did a few days ago, she basically talked about how she wants to be heard. She wants her truth to be heard. Not about not even about being innocent or anything else. She just wants her truth to be heard. And she mentioned the fact that she was not happy in the other trial because she told her lawyer all the things that her truths that she wanted them to say, and they didn't say any of it. And now she has that opportunity to say her truth. Hello, Brenda Jo. Good to see you. So I found that interesting. We're gonna cover this during this trial instead of Sebastian. But keep in mind, if anything should happen in the Sebastian Rogers case, we will go there, right? But there just isn't anything to report on other than drama in Sebastian's case. And you guys know I'm just not going to go there. I don't want to be a part of it, right? The creators can go after each other. I don't want any part of it. So until or unless there is some news about Sebastian, prayerfully good, right? We want good news. For now, we're going to go on to the Lori's Vallow case. Because think about it. Once the Sebastian case has come to a resolution, guys, we have to talk about other things. So I'm just going to continue to do that as we go. Right, Ginger Girl? Hers may not be the actual truth, right? So Lori's truth is delusional, in my opinion. And honestly, she gives Christians a bad name all across the board. She's of the Mormon faith, or was, but she is gone off the deep end, and she's not even really what she was believing. Was not the Mormon faith, right? I'm not Mormon. I'm not going to say I am. I'm not going to say I understand all their teachings, but I know a few people to know that what she was believing in and what she was trying to pull others into her orb was not truth. It was not from God. So she reminds you of those Charlie Manson girls. She is wacko. I gotta tell ya. Yeah. And, I mean, there's a lot of other Mormon people, but I can think of, I mean, I know one for sure in our personal life, but out there famous, the one family I can think of is the Osmond family, right? They're Mormon. They do not believe anything like this, So it's crazy that she thinks that what she did is okay. And yeah, so she wants to tell her truth. It's going to be interesting to see. So far, she's been pretty calm. She's been pretty mellow in this trial. We'll listen to her opening statement today. But before we do, I wanted to listen to the 911 call. And you can hear her brother, Alex Cox, calling 911. Now, it has already come out in the opening statement by the prosecution that Alex Cox did not call 911 until 47 minutes after he shot Charles Vallow, who was Lori's husband. I guess I'll give a little background. Lori married Charles. He was her fourth husband. In 2006, he had 2 sons, and she had a son and a daughter at that time. Okay. They were evidently happy for quite a while, but I think in 2018, things started to go pretty badly. Charles made good money. They lived in a beautiful home in Chandler, Arizona. And by 2019, all the boys, his boys and her son Colby were all out of the house by that time. It was just Tylee, and they had adopted a little autistic baby it was like his great nephew, Charles's great nephew. And the parents were drug addicts and just couldn't take care of him, right? So Lori and Charles adopted this little boy, and they called him JJ. They renamed him JJ. So they started having issues. What started happening was she started going off the deep end with these teachings. She was talking zombies and dark spirits, dark and light, and all this crazy stuff. Well, she had gotten into a circle of people, which included Chad Daybell. He was a alleged prophet, but his teachings were he's supposed to be of the Mormon faith, but his teachings were off track as well. And the two of them got together and decided that they were, hello, Sam, good to see you. Hello, K9. So the two of them got together and decided that they were together in another life. And so they're meant to be together. But see, you know what? I mean, Charles was in the way. And not only that, but Chad's wife, Tammy, was in the way. I mean, you can't get married on earth when you still have spouses, right? So, no, let's not divorce. Let's just call them dark and get rid of them. Yes, it's that wacko, guys. So, um, she somehow got Alex, her brother, into believing the same as her. And he pretty much did the dirty work for her and Chad. It's pretty sad situation. And so, yeah, wackadoodle for sure. So let's go ahead. I want to listen to just the 911 call, and then we'll go from there. Make sure you guys can see it okay. Of course you can't, because I got the picture up in front of it. Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay. And at the bottom down here, that is Alex talking to an officer. This is just a picture showing after the officers got there. And in the background is the house, just to make you guys aware. So it was a really nice house in Arizona. So, guys, I have a question for you. I mean, okay, so Alex was proficient with guns, right? I get that, right? I mean, um, I have, I've gone hunting, deer hunting and things, I know a lot of people around this area that go deer hunting that use guns, right? Not a big deal. But killing a deer and taking the life of a human being, two totally different things, right? Wouldn't you be shaky and excitable? I mean, his voice just doesn't sound like he cares, right? Let me know what you're thinking, guys. All right. Go back to it. So you're saying there's no sound, guys? You can't hear anything? Well, that is weird. I'm hearing it. Let me. Okay, if I stop sharing it. Okay. Let me try it again. Can you hear it now? Can you hear it now, guys? No. Ugh. Okay. Well, I don't know why that's not working. Goodness. Okay. Well, but you can hear me? That is very weird. Um, I know I could probably find it. Somewhere else, and maybe this can be. Okay. See if this works. If there's a will, there's a way. Let me know if you can hear it, guys. Well, now I can't hear it. Let me try something. Okay. So I kind of refreshed it to see if that's going to help. Let's try this again then. Thank you. Are you guys hearing the video at all? 'cause I am not hearing it. No, but you can read it. Gotcha. I don't know what's going on. It is weird. So I guess I'll just tell you about it. I don't know why this is happening the way it is, but okay. So basically, Alex goes through this whole thing, right? Talking about um, everything that happened, he said, the dispatcher tried to get him to go over and to work on Charles doing CPR and even counted for him. He didn't do any of it because it was a chest wounds. He had 2 chest wounds and he would have had blood all over his hands. He did say he washed his hands, but they found no bloody paper towels or anything else. You want roast chicken this year? Gotcha. So you guys can hear me though, right? Yeah, 47 minutes to call 911. Lori left right away. But here's the deal. She wasn't letting him have his phone. That's why he got mad. He was trying to set up an intervention with the church and her other brother because he knew she was wacko, right? So, but she caught on to the fact that her other brother was coming into town and she knew they were up to something. So when he left his phone on the counter in the kitchen and went out to take JJ to school, he realized he left his phone inside and he left JJ in the car with the car running and he went back inside and Lori had his phone. And he was mad, right? Give me my phone. Give me my phone. Well, she made it like it was this big that he got really angry and violent and all this other stuff. And that now I guess him and Tylee did not get along at all. And Tylee came out of her room with a bat, kind of shoved it at him and said, "Get away from my mom." And he took it away from her. And when he did that, she was like hanging on to it. And when he finally, you could see that he is pretty built, right? Showed that picture of him and JJ there. He's got big arms. He's built, probably very strong. And when she released it, she kind of fell down on her side. And then she went running out of the house after that. And he was still telling Lori, "Give me my phone." He was following after her. And she went around the kitchen. It's like a circle, I think. Went around the kitchen. And at that point is when Alex went into his room, grabbed the gun, and then he shot Charles. She heard the shot when she was in the kitchen, but then she took off immediately. Now she had Charles' phone and his wallet, so that when the police got there, they couldn't find his wallet because she had it. She also had the rental car that he was using. So she admits to refusing to give him his phone. He had been texting when he got there, but it was to her other brother, and I probably didn't want her to see it, right? But, yeah, just and then they both were very I have, set aside their, um, interviews that we can watch at some point in time. Tylee's interview, which is kind of eerie because now we all know that Tylee and JJ were red-rummed after Charles, and they were buried on her new husband Chad's property. Chad's wife was also um, poisoned, I guess. Um, so, yeah, just a very bizarre set of circumstances. But each one of these, you know, Charles, Tylee, JJ, Tammy, all went dark. All had different names that were given them. Charles' demon name was Ned. I don't know what she named Tylee and JJ and Tammy. Doesn't even matter. But you can see how delusional she was, right? And she was just crazy. You know, I can't even believe it. It's just horrible. But this is the one that happened first, the death of her husband, although they didn't realize it until after they had gotten all of the info from her cell about the other red rums of Tylee, JJ, and Tammy. And it doesn't stop there because her niece's husband, and like you said, wackadoodle, her niece's husband, Brandon Boudreaux, was also shot at, but they missed, right? And so you see the guy on the screen here, that's Charles. That was her husband of, I think, 14 years they were married, right? This is the guy. This was her fifth husband, the prophet, and they were supposed to be together. This is Chad Daybell, who she fell head over and heels in love with, right? He is now on death row for those red rums. And he's standing out in front of his house, which is now demolished. Somebody bought it and razed that house to the ground. So, yeah. Seriously, guys, you look at a guy like Chad, and then you look at this guy. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to say, but I wonder if demonizing someone is a form of dehumanizing them. I cannot wrap my head around this thinking at all. Yeah, he's a creep compared to her husband. He is. I see Charles here as a strong, well-built man, right? Arms around his son, his autistic son, obviously very loving, right? I don't see him as someone who got violently angry. They were married for 14 years. With what we know of Lori today, don't you think that she would have, I don't know, left him long before now, long before 2019 when this happened, right? If he was violent. He was her fourth husband. She obviously was good at leaving, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't get that. As far as dehumanizing them, no, I think that you're thinking too much into it, Ginger. It was all about religion. She had to find a way to get rid of them. And her and Chad came up with it together. Um, when people, I can tell you this because I've seen it happen. When people get so caught up in a concept, then they start making it more and more and more. Um, you know, the Bible does talk about darkness and light. Okay, so they took that concept and they went to an extreme with it. Do you see what I'm saying? So, where the zombies came from, that's a worldly thing, I think, right? So they just kind of added that right in there, right? Well, zombies got to be the devil, right? And that's dark, and yeah. So let's just do that. I don't think it had anything to do with dehumanizing them. It had to do with false doctrine, right? Um, Delusions, you know, and delusions of grandeur. She really thought she didn't have to repent anymore, and that her and Chad were chosen to leave the 144,000, which is in Revelation, guys, but it doesn't say that Lori and Chad are leading them. It's the Lord that's leading them. But I'm just, she took everything to a different level. And yeah, I mean, she, to the degree where she got chosen, she can do what she wants. She's doing it because he told her to do these things, right? We don't have a clear idea of who actually did the red rum of Tylee and JJ. It's not clear, but JJ was pretty much mummified, smothered and mummified in his pajamas. But Kylie was, I don't know. I think they said they didn't know how she died for sure. But she was cut up and then burned in Chad's fire pit in his backyard. So Lori was not there. We don't think when this happened at at the burial. But obviously she was in conspiracy to do all this, right? Part of it was for money because she thought that she was still beneficiary of Chad's $1 million life insurance policy. But little did she realize that Chad had signed this policy over to his sister, who is JJ's grandma. It was her son, is JJ's father. So he knew that his sister would take care of JJ if anything happened to him. Yes, me too. Me too. It's going to be bad enough. The first witness I watched today, Lori was pretty good about. You could tell she was unsure of herself. She tried to trip the officer up because she asked him why didn't he do CPR on Charles? And I thought, well, what do you care, Lori? I mean, seriously. And he said no. He said, I checked his pulse and he was dead. She said, but she goes, the 911 operator told my brother to do CPR, and he said, I don't know what their protocols are. I just know what mine is. If the guy is dead and we think he's dead and it's a gunshot wound to the chest, it's a crime scene, and I can't touch the crime scene, right? So she was, all right. She was better than I thought she would be. She was not angry or explosive or anything like that. In her opening statement, she basically she kept saying the same thing over and over. The evidence will show. The evidence will show. The evidence will show. It was almost redundant. As a juror, she would have lost me. I would have said, whatever, right? My question is, how do you honestly believe that none of these jurors know anything about what happened to Tammy, Tylee, and JJ? What do you guys think? You think there's anybody on that jury that doesn't have some knowledge of Tammy, JJ, and Tylee? Even though those murders happened in Idaho, and that trial was in Idaho, and this is in Arizona. Do you really think that they were able to find jurors that knew about them? I mean, I guess it's kind of like with Sebastian's case, right? That there are still people that don't know, right, about him, and maybe they could find jurors. I don't know. Yeah, yeah, and I wouldn't doubt that, but I don't think, because she has this flirtatious way. If any of you guys saw the Dateline interview, she was flirting with what's his name? I can't think of his name right now, but she was flirting with her interviewer. It didn't work with them, but she thinks she's so cute, and so I don't know what she thinks. I think she's delusional, but yeah, I think they're going to come. Well, Tylee is already coming into the picture because she was there that day. But whether their deaths will come into the picture is the question, because their deaths really don't have anything to do with this case. In all actuality, if you think about it, the only real question is when the jurors go back into that room, are they going to wonder why Tylee was never called? If they don't know about Tylee, are they going to wonder why Tylee was never called as a witness for her mother? I mean, that's something I would question if I didn't know about it, right? I don't think Lori has a snowball's chance in HE double hockey sticks to win this case, honestly. Her texts did her in, and those are going to come up. Those are going to come up in the trial. How her and Alex planned things and said, Ned's got to go, and everything's going to come to a head this weekend. Just, yeah, her text did her in. And I don't know, maybe she didn't realize that everything is saved to the cloud, right? But it was. And they were able to pull it. And that's how they were able to go back and charge her now for this. That's right. There are no witnesses left alive. Alex died. This happened in July 19th, I want to say, of 2019. And Alex died in December of they say, a blood clot to his lung. I still to this day question that. Because Alex did say to his wife that he felt like they, right, quotation marks around they, that they were making him the fall guy. See, Alex's truck was found to be in the backyard of Chad the day of the burials. That's how they knew where to find those kids. They were doing geofencing on, the truck, but a different person, K9. They did geofencing. No, he wasn't poisoned. Well, I'm, they wondered, but no, he had a blood clot to the lung, as they say what killed him, but there are things that you can inject somebody with that. Lori had talked about, told somebody that she was poisoning Charles, that she was crushing up JJ's pills and putting them in Charles protein shakes. Sounds like he was very big into fitness, which you can see by looking at him, he had to been, right? I mean, Charles even went so far as to go to the police and tell them she's crazy. She's going to have me killed. She says I'm a demon. My name is Ned. He tried to tell them, to warn them. And still he ended up dead. Just sad. And Tammy was poisoned, Chad's wife. I don't remember what with, though. But they had her exhumed. He had a funeral immediately, right? But then they had her exhumed. So, for those of you who may not know, this was his wife, Tammy. And they had 5 children together who are all grown. Right? And these are some good pictures of JJ and Tylee. So there was some poison going on in this case, but I mean, I think they suspected that he was poisoned, but they think that, when talking about Alex, they think that it was something like, I forget what, there's some drug that I don't know, that you can inject into someone and it makes them look like they had a heart attack or something. So I still don't wonder that, but unless his wife pushes that, I don't think anything's going to come of it. In the last video that she did, in the last interview, the interviewer asked her, "Are you still with Chad? Do you still consider yourself to be married to him?" And she said, "Sure," which I found strange. I would have thought she would have said, "Well, of course we are, blah, blah, blah." But no, she just, "Sure. And what she, in the interviewer, said, "Well, what does that look like? He's on death row and you're serving life." And she just said, well, we do the only thing we can do. I think all they can do is write letters to each other. They're not allowed to um, talk on the phone or do the kiosk or anything like that, right? They can only write physical letters to each other. I wouldn't doubt if she's moved on with a guard. No. His wife was a stay-at-home mom, kind of. They had a publishing company that they started, and I don't think it did very well, but I mean, he was able to publish his books, which you can find his books anywhere. See if I can show them. Yeah. So yeah, these are all books by Chad Daybell. Oh, they're on sale, guys. Children of Darkness and Light, Keys of the Kingdom. So yeah, Celestial City, The Great Gathering, Rise of Zion, Renewed Earth, Evading Babylon. Yeah. When the Moon Turns to Blood. So she was the one that did like the editing of the books and everything. And but she was also a teacher because they had 5 kids and they didn't, money wasn't huge. And he, other than writing his books, he didn't work. Oh, he worked in the cemetery, right? He dug graves. He dug graves. He's a maintenance worker for a cemetery. Other than that, he did go around to the LDS churches and spoke. No rushing to the bookstore, guys. So I think anything by Chad Daybell would be about the last thing I'd read, right? I can't even believe, honestly. Let's see. That they're still out there. Here. Written works. There you go. Chad Daybell's written works. So, yeah. But he also, went and these books were actually promoted in the LDS church at first. I'm sure they are not anymore, right? I wouldn't think they would be anymore. The thing I'm really surprised about is that the LDS church hasn't come out and made a statement because, I mean, he's on death row, right? So I'm really surprised that they haven't come out and made a statement on this, but they haven't. They haven't at all. So, his 5 children believe him to be innocent and think Lori is the one that seduced him, which she very well might have. Right? Yeah, I don't think he can get any of the proceeds. I wouldn't think he would be able to. They're like $6. Let's see up here. Yeah, this one, 659, right? Keys of the Kingdom, 499. So, Evading Babylon, 779, right? So, yeah. And I doubt that they're selling at all. I'd be surprised if they were selling, but, um, you know, yeah, it is. It's a bizarre world. Yes, and she was doing podcasts with Melanie's. I can't think of Melanie's last name. So she was doing podcasts with this well-known woman speaker in the LDS church. Her name was Melanie, and I don't remember her last name, but um, yeah, yeah. Um, but remember that they're not. And Melanie was kind of off the track of what LDS teaches as well. So, but then, in the beginning, I mean, the Mormon Church was known before they split off for being, what is it, polygamy, having more than one wife, that kind of thing. Melanie Gibb. Yeah, thank you, Pam, Melissa. Melanie Gibb, right. So, yeah, I mean, they really went to an extreme, right? And I think that's what happens when people get kind of a sense of power, start to get recognized for their writings, for their speakings, for their works. They get kind of a sense of power, and it goes to their head, right? And I think when Lori started doing those podcasts, I think Lori has a grandiose image anyway of herself, and she went to the next extreme, and evidently Chad told her that they were together in another life and they were together for eternity. And then that's the way she went, right? So, no worries. That's okay, guys. Um, it's easier for me to see when more than one person puts it up there. So, um, but yeah. So yes, and he is facing a firing squad, Ginger. He is. Um, in Idaho. No fun. Was it worth it? Right? So, as far as Lori knows, her and Chad are still together. We don't know what he thinks because he's not talking. Right? So, I mean, unless we ever see letters to them at some point someday, because are we ever going to believe anything Lori says at this point? I don't think so, right? Yeah. Don't drink the Kool-Aid for sure, Melissa, right? Or Ginger. Yeah. Um i- it's just a real example of how cults can form, and that's why they call her cult mom. Cult mom Lori Vallow. And that's why I refuse to call her Daybell, because this trial is about the red rum of her husband Charles Vallow, right? And I don't know, maybe I should be calling her Lori Daybell because she didn't deserve his last name, Charles, did she? Maybe I'm thinking about that all wrong, right? Maybe I should be calling her Lori Daybell because I don't know. It was only days that they were really together before she got arrested. She's been in prison ever since then, jail and then prison, and But she really feels like now, um, she's been put on this earth to help, um, the women in prison, right? Yeah, they miss the vision of spending life in prison. Oh gosh. Yeah. And I mean that it just gives you a clear-cut idea of how people get off track and get this grandiose idea of themselves and their teachings and Charles Manson and David Koresh and all these other guys who, you know, did their own communes and people followed them like sheep to a slaughter, right? And it happens, guys. It happens all the time. I agree. They should be taken off the market. I agree because who is getting the funds for that? Is his kids? I mean, I guess it's all right if it's his kids, but they believe he's innocent. How can you not listen to the evidence and know that your dad had a hand in burying bodies in his backyard and think he's innocent? And not only that, he married um, Lori less than a month after his wife died. I mean, they're adults. He has 5 adult children who some are married. I mean, were they drinking the Kool-Aid? I mean, I don't know. They have the portal. Yeah. And like I said, I'm surprised at the LDS church. Yeah, he took the life of their mother, right? But they don't believe that. Have they been visiting Tennessee and drinking that water? Could be. Could be. Yeah, good fire pit, right? Um, yeah. Just I uh I don't understand how, you know, those kids can defend their father, right? I just don't understand it. Um Looking at him, like even in court though, um he to me he looks like a weak man, just weak-willed man. Um I don't know. It I don't know why I think that. I don't know um what it is about him that I think that, but I do. I can't help it. I um just let's see. I was going to show you guys a picture. Yeah. So this is an overview of Chad's house, right? His house is up here on the left top, and this was a shed that they had, and that's where they did their book publishing. You can see the fire pit, and that's partly where some of Tylee's bones were found. And underneath the tree is where, I think it was over here, is where JJ was found. Where the blue tarps are, guys, is where they were. Where they were found. So a ways away from the house, but still Still really sad. But yeah, right directly after this trial is the one for Brandon Boudreaux, and they must have texts on that one too to be able to take her to court for it, right? Must have texts between her. Alex, her brother, was the one that shot at Brandon, and Brandon saw the Jeep he drove away in. So he missed Brandon, thank goodness. But it did ruin. No, it's just a simple ranch house. Let's see if we show you the front of it right here. That's the front of their house. So, I mean, it was just a simple ranch house, but it is gone now. Um, everything on this property is gone. The sheds and everything are all gone. They completely demolished everything. The people who live there. So, yeah. Well, and like I said, I don't know if he did it or if Alex did it. How, Alex was their uncle. He did things with those kids. He took them places. They went, one of their last trips was to um, a big park. Was it Yellowstone? A big park, anyway. One of their last trips. It was actually the day before Kylie died, or the day before they took her life, I want to say. I guess is more accurately the way it should be, right? And yeah, so they took her, did her in, but Lori's story is that Yellowstone, yeah. Lori's story is that Tylee red rummed JJ and then took her own life. And so Lori calls it a family tragedy. This is a family. It was a domino of family tragedies that happened in her life. She calls these red rums family tragedies, right? But here's the thing. I was watching, and if you guys don't know, Colby Ryan was her oldest son, right? Her oldest child. Thank the Lord that he wasn't anywhere in this picture, right? Because he could have been gone too. He's married. He has a few children. And I mean, can you imagine how he feels? He was close with his mom growing up, right? Um, he has interviewed his mom, and it's been really hard for him. But he has a YouTube channel. It's called Colby Ryan, Ryan. And so you can see him talk about it, which I think is good for him. It's like therapeutic for him. He was just on Hidden True Crime with John and Laura Matthias. And yeah, but I was watching him, and he was just upset that Lori had called it a family tragedy, right? Because he knows what she did. And he was really upset that she is trying to blame Tylee for what happened. And I don't blame him, right? Because he has said many times over, I remember him saying to her, Mom, I would have taken them. If you didn't want them anymore, I would have taken them. And the same was true as far as Charles Vallow's sister, Kay Woodcock. She said she would have taken both those kids, and Tylee isn't any relation to her, but she said she would have taken Tylee too, right? Um, yeah. So I can't imagine, because Colby is the only one of those kids left, right? He he was close to Charles. You know, he called him his dad because his own dad was like pretty hard on him and Tylee. Um, and so he was um, close to Charles' boys, and his sister and brother. And then all of a sudden, they're gone. They're gone. So, yeah, very, very rough time for him. And I can imagine that every time trial comes, it just brings things back up again. In fact, he was saying he was really shocked at this last interview with Arizona 5 that he said she's acting like the original Lori here. He goes, I it's blown me away. It blows my mind. He said, I can't that I can't figure that out. And it was confusing him, right? Because when he interviewed her last, she was so off the wall and so whacked, right? But one of the things that I thought after I listened to him was, I honestly believe that Lori has to stick with the family tragedy scenario, because she cannot face the truth of what she did to her kids. Because think about it. Facing the truth of that you took the lives, you colluded, and you were off on some wacko religious kick, and you know she cannot face the truth. That's my opinion. She cannot face it, and because it would do her in. She wouldn't be able to handle it. It would just do her in. So she has to continue the facade, because otherwise she can't live with it. That's my thought. I could be way off, but that's what I think. I think she just can't. She can't face reality. Oh, yeah, I agree. She loves the attention, doesn't she? But the thing is, she said she didn't want cameras in the courthouse. So, I don't know what that's about, but I hope that if she tries to reach out to media after these trials are done, this one and Brandon's, that they just tell her no, right? Because the attention should be on these two kids, this lady, and right now this trial, Charles, right? And I guess JJ was, they called him severe autistic. I don't know what that means. Maybe some of you know. But look at that face, guys. Another one like Brandon, or like Sebastian, right? Another one like Sebastian. You just want to squeeze those little cheeks and hug him and love on him, right? Look at that little cute face. But that is where the attention, right now, the attention needs to be on Charles, right? He's getting justice. I mean, does another life sentence matter for Lori? No. I mean, she's already got life, right? Adding to it isn't going to matter. But it does get justice for Charles, right? And for his sister, right? His family. You know, Brandon Boudreaux, right? It'll get justice for him. You know, I think they had 5 kids as well. He's married to Melanie, which was Lori's niece. And Melanie fell into Lori's teachings, even moved next door to Lori in one of the apartments, left Brandon, was saying all this stuff. And Brandon was trying to save his marriage. So, of course, he was dark, right? And then they put the hit on him. Alex went and tried to kill him, you know. So he deserves justice as well, right? You know, so hopefully that'll be the end of it. I don't know. They said that Tylee's dad died of a heart attack and there was questions there. So I don't know, guys. But hopefully after these 2 trials, we're done with Lori Vallow, right? And I wish she would have gotten the death penalty, honestly. But this, I don't know what the charge for what she's facing for Charles is conspiracy to commit red rum for him. I don't know what the sentence for conspiracy is in Arizona. I don't know. Doesn't matter. She's already spending life. And it's probably conspiracy for Brandon as well. But I know that they have texts for Charles. Clear cut. They must have texts for Brandon, or they wouldn't be putting these charges at her, right? But it's sad because whenever we think of these cases, there's always a victim. In this case, there's multiple victims. Multiple people got hurt just because 2 people wanted to be together. Why didn't she just go off? Why didn't she just, her and Chad, just run off to Hawaii together like they wanted? I'll tell you why. Money. She thought she was going to get there. Maybe I'll play that at some point too. There is a phone recording of her calling the insurance company and she finds out that that she's not the beneficiary, that his sister Kate Woodcock is. So she has to tell Chad, you know, he took the money. He took the money. I'm not the beneficiary, but I still get $4,000 a month because for JJ from Social Security because he's gone. So she knew she was going to get money from JJ. So if she could unalive her kids and not ever say, because Tylee was getting money as well, right? But Tylee, I think it would have stopped at 18. But $4,000 a month is still quite a bit of money, guys, right? And so she'd still get that, right? And her and Chad could live happily in Hawaii on $4,000 a month. I don't know. You know, as long as they didn't find out JJ was gone, but shouldn't count on Kay Woodcock, Charles' sister. Kay is JJ's grandma, and she wanted to see him, right? She wanted to know he was alive. She did welfare checks. She fought until she got the cops involved, and I don't blame her. Yep, she needed that cash. So they couldn't just go off away, right? They needed the cash. Because heaven forbid, let's see here, that this guy, yeah, heaven forbid that this guy, right, couldn't make any money. Because I don't think people were going to be reading his books anymore, right? Like you guys said, they should take those books off the market. You know, especially when they know that it was delusional, that people died because of those beliefs. You know, you would think that they would have taken them off. But yeah. So that's the Lori Vallow thing. I know they had the second officer, which is the one that I was watching Chris McDonough last night. And he really liked this one officer that was kind of talking to Alex outside after the shooting. And he said, "This guy's good." He goes, "He's been with the force for 25 years or something." He said, "You can tell he's good. He's not feeding him anything. He's just letting him talk and talk and talk and talk," right? He said, "I can't wait to see him on the stand." So that's the guy that was on the stand when I got ready to come on my live tonight. So that one's probably going to be interesting because the first officer already said that he thought Alex's demeanor was laid back, you know, nonchalant. I guess he used the word, and then Lori called him on it. Well, I don't remember saying that word, but yeah, he was laid back, you know, just, you know, like nothing happened, right? And he was. He was. So, um, but yes, interesting case. I think it's probably going to be over before. Here's my question, guys. Do you think Lori's going to get up on the stand? What do you think? Think Lori's going to get up on the stand? Because I don't know if she will or not. She wouldn't say in the interview. She said, "I don't have to make that decision." Um, you don't think she will? I think well, I don't know. If it means being able to tell her truth, I wonder. But I don't think she's going to want the state to cross-examine her. That's the only problem. But that is the only way she's going to be able to get her truths, quotation marks around truths, her truth out there, right? That's the only way, is by getting up on that stand. Tell of, you know, her family tragedy, guys. Oh, she's her own counsel. Sh- She's her own attorney in this case, in this trial, K9. Yeah, because she wanted a speedy trial. Um, so she's her own attorney. She does have advisory counsel. They would probably tell her not to, but it basically, it's her decision. Even if she did have counsel, it's her decision. Oh, that was a joke. Gotcha. So she should tell herself not to, right? She is so wacky. I feel so bad for Kobe, and it's just too bad that those kids, you know, because Kobe would have taken his sister in a split second, you know, he would have taken JJ as well. That's all right. I guess I need to brush up on mine. Okay. Sometimes it's hard to know, right? When we're typing, it's hard to know if people are joking or not, right? So my grannyism for today is a delusion is something that people believe in without a total lack of evidence. Richard Dawkins said that. Something that people believe in without a total lack of evidence. that's about that's about it. There is no evidence to light and dark and zombies. Yeah. Yep. Yes. Tylee looked at JJ as even her own child. That's why it makes it all the worse that there's even a video out there, guys, where they're saying something about JJ and Tylee said, "No, he's my child." So she really, those two had such a bond, right? Tylee and JJ. And yeah. So for Lori to say that Tylee did something to him and then took her own life is such bull. Oh, it's not even believable to those of us who don't even know them, right? There you go. It's a delusion. So I can't imagine how Colby feels when his mother says that kind of thing and blames it all on Tylee, right? Just, I feel so bad for him. So bad, you know. And he's had so much to deal with. And, I really give kudos to his wife, because she's been there with him through it all, and helped him through all this. So, um, you know, it can't have been easy. And Lori did not like her, of course, Lori didn't want anybody, I don't think, in Colby's life other than her. But so, guys, that's all I had for today. Like I said, we will continue with going over the trial. Hopefully, tomorrow's StreamYard's working better for me, and I can actually show you guys some videos that I got up. And if anything comes up with Sebastian's case, of course, we're just going to jump right into that, right? So don't be fooled by my thumbnail if it says Lori. But if something breaks, it could be about Sebastian, just to let you know, okay? So, all right, everybody, have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching another episode of Granny's Crime Busters. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and like and even share the content. You can follow us on any of our other social media platforms at YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We really appreciate you guys, and you can also email us at granniescrimebusters@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.